All right, so we're gonna go over our low kneeling exercise here. It's one that a lot of patients really struggle with being able to understand exactly what we're looking for and also how to perform it really well. So the point of this exercise, go ahead and rock forward for us, is to really learn how to be able to transfer force through the spine without any of the buckling. So go ahead, go ahead and sit back. And then you can see how he really flexes through the low back here, and then go ahead, rock forward. And then a lot of times you'll see people drop as they rock forward, or they'll go into a big flexion like this. What I want us to really work on being able to lengthen through the backside of the hip and be able to move and utilize the hip to create the effort. So the hip is going to go ahead and push yourself forward. So I want the hip to push forward. I don't want the back to pull forward. So really starting from the knees, which is our support point for this position, and learn how to transfer force through the spine without movement. Because when we have that movement, we have that buckling effect, and then instead of pushing directly through the entire joint surface, we're now pushing through just a part of the joint surface. Oftentimes that will then overload some of the joints and cause pain and irritation. So big keys here. Really, just like with our 3-month supine exercise, trying to get all 3 of our shelves stacked. So what I'm just gonna do here is I'm just gonna say, hey, don't let me push you down. So I don't necessarily want him really pushing me up and arching, but just enough of that effort to where now I can feel some engagement in the abdominal wall. Don't let this drop. I just want you to drop your upper back a little bit. So there's that stiffness that he has. Good. Just connecting everything together right through here. So this looks really good. Mirrors are wonderful if you have one at home that you can look into and you can see, hey, am I maintaining lengthening through the spine? Or am I really hunched or really arched before you start this exercise? Now, keep this length, Connor, and don't let me move you. Good, so I want you to really focus on the knees here. So the knees are gonna push into the table, so you should feel like the hips are pushing you forward and the back isn't pulling you forward. Go ahead, come forward towards me. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. So as we're doing this, we should see the hip angle right here starting to open up. As we sit back into the hip, it should feel almost like he's trying to pinch my finger right here in the hip. There you go. So that crease closes right here, and there's a lengthening, a little stretch on the backside of the hip. Go ahead, push me forward. Good. Don't pull with the back, push with the hip. Good. And come forward, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Good. Once you can feel this, I really like to have patients focus on how to do this at home, which you're not going to have someone to really push on you, but you can use the arms. So I really want you to push from your arms. So right here, don't let me push you. Now I'm going to decrease my effort. I want you to just push your elbows into the ground to create the resistance. Right here. Good. So we're still pushing just as hard with the hips. And then now I want your hips to win as you rock forward. There you go. And then now push from the elbows to sit back into the hips. So your shoulders and your elbows, your arms win, pushing you back. And that's about as far as he can go. A lot of people will end up trying to go too far. Realistically, you just can't go that far. If you run out of hip range of motion, you're going to have to sacrifice low back range. And I don't want us necessarily pushing into that. Not that you're going to hurt yourself in this position or this exercise, but I want the brain to be able to feel what your limitations are and what your range of motion truly is.